Morning everyone, or it's morning for me anyway. I'm currently at a very popular spot in the Lake District. I'm at this boathouse just outside of Pooley Bridge on the edge of Ullswater, and this is a very popular spot amongst photographers, and you'll see why. Yeah, it's a very iconic shot in the Lake District, and well, one I just had to get. So unfortunately you do have to set up very close to the road. Yeah, this is my first time photographing here actually. There was a couple of guys here earlier who were better prepared, had relics on, and were actually in the water to get lowered down. Fortunately, as this is my first time here, I didn't know I'd be so close to the road, so if I come back, which I'm sure I will in the future, I'll get myself some relics as well and get into the water and get nice and low. But yeah, still getting some really beautiful photos. And in terms of composition, it's obviously pretty straightforward, you can't go wrong. You've got that boathouse there, which is such a nice focal point. The mountains in the background, bit of reflection on the lake. That's all you need. I've pretty much got what I can from here now. The sun is up now. About half an hour ago the light was really beautiful, so I got some nice photos there. But just to give you an idea of my setup, basically just put the long stopper on and that was it. Unfortunately the lake isn't quite as calm as I would have liked, but still getting some pretty good reflections. As I've said, I've got what I can from here. The best of the light has been and gone, but while I'm here I'm going to explore more of the area, and I know there's a very big, very famous waterfall just down the road from here, Aira Force, so I'm going to check that out. Well, I was just driving up to the waterfall, and as I was driving along I passed this other great view, so I just had to stop and take a photo. Conveniently there's a lay-by for me to park my car at, and then down straight onto this beautiful view. So I'm looking across the lake and I'm looking onto this line of trees here with the mountains in the background, and the sun is just rising above that hill there. I must apologise, I do not know the names of all these hills, but the sun has just risen above that hill. These snow-capped hills, line of trees, the lake, it's beautiful. Now, I've only got the one lens for my camera, which is an 18-55mm. So I'm zoomed in as much as I can, zoomed into 55mm, which is actually pretty good, gets me close enough into the trees. Unfortunately though, I've only got one soft gradulated ND filter, which is a 2-stop, and I often find situations like this where I'm shooting into the sun, unfortunately it's just not enough, so I'm still getting clipping in the highlights, and ideally I could do with a bigger a harder grad. So I think at some point in the future I'm going to have to invest in a harder soft ND filter. So it's kind of difficult to get the exposure just right even with the filters. The sun in the sky is obviously very bright, but then it's also reflecting off the lake, so the bottom of the frame is also very bright, whereas the middle part of the frame, where you've got the trees and the hills that I'm focusing on, that's very dark. So it's a huge contrast between the top of the frame, the bottom of the frame, and then with the middle of the frame. So really difficult to get right even with the filters. Yeah, I'm hoping I'm going to be able to work some magic in Lightroom on this one. If I had a telephoto lens, what I would do at this point is just zoom in really close onto those trees and just focus on the trees, the hills and the reflection in the lake, and just not even get the sky in the frame. But yeah, unfortunately I'm just having to make do with the tools that I've got. Yeah, unfortunately I don't think this one's going to work. There's just too much contrast between the middle part of the image and the top and the bottom where the sun is. So I think unfortunately I'm just going to have to leave this one and head up to this waterfall. Unfortunately, even though I was born and bred in Carlisle, I didn't learn to drive until I think it was 26 when I passed my driver's test. So it was difficult for me to get to the Lake District up until then. I used to visit now and again. Then my uncle from Newcastle, when he came across to visit the lakes, I'd often go through with him then. But other than that, it was difficult for me to get there. So once past my driving test, I started to go a little bit more then, but then it wasn't long after that I then moved down to London. So I don't know the Lake District as well as I would like. A lot of these places I'm just coming to for the first time. So that's why, like that boathouse that I photographed this morning, although it's a very iconic photograph of the Lake District, it was the first time I'd been there and photographed it. And yeah, that's also why I don't know the name of a lot of these hills. So despite growing up not far from here, a lot of this is new to me. A lot of the specific areas are new to me, so that's why I plan to visit here as often as I can, because I really want to get to know this area well, and there's so much to explore here. The good thing is, in terms of just beauty and finding places to photograph, you just can't go wrong because there's just so much of it everywhere. So I've parked my car up at the nearest free car park that I could find, because I'm not paying £7 to park my car, especially since I never carry cash with me anyway. But yeah, that's the only downside to the Lake District. The National Trust car parks are pretty expensive, unless you remember. So I've been told it's about half a mile walk from where I've parked, so not too bad. So just walking along the side of the road now, and I should be at this waterfall in a few minutes. So I think this must be it. impressive. Wow, so cool. Take a look. Yeah, it's just really impressive, and with the ice on the rocks as well, it looks fantastic. Yeah, really impressive. I think even I might be happy with some of the photos that I'm getting here. And yeah, all I'm doing is using the polarizer, just to slow the shutter speed down, that's all. And just getting a variety of wide shots and some tighter shots as well.
Well, I think the only thing that would have topped this off is that sometimes when you get a bit of sunlight, you can actually see a rainbow on the waterfall as well. That's not going to happen today as it's cloudy, but perhaps another day. But really pleased with what I've got here. It's been a really fun morning, but I think I've gotten what I can for today, so I'm going to head back home now, have some lunch. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.